Welcome to Yoga Flow, Restore, and Aromatherapy. Today we're going to start with Thieves Essential Oil to help boost our immunity. We need it all year. So I'm just going to sniff straight from the bottle, and then I'm going to put a drop on my toe. It's a hot oil, so I can put it on my toe. And then next we'll go to an oil called Raven. And Raven is a respiratory oil. It supports our lungs and our breathing. And we all know that yoga and breathing go hand in hand. So I'm going to again smell straight from the bottle, and then I'm going to take a drop and I'm just going to rub it right on my chest. So I'll rub it in to support that area. I can also still smell it that way. So I'm just going to rub it in my chest. And then next I'll be using Citrus Fresh. Citrus Fresh has a combination of many different citrus oils and spearmint. So it's very good to elevate the mood. It helps you feel happier and feel good. So I just took a little bit of that, rubbed it on my wrists. And you can make a diffuser by just holding your wrists up to your nose and inhaling deeply. So just do that a couple times. And after you've taken a couple deep breaths, we're going to go ahead and get started in our first restorative position, which is Queen's Pose. So you can use some blocks and a bolster, or if you have some pillows that you can stack up, maybe put them at an angle. So you can stack a few pillows up for height and then another pillow to lean against them. And then you're just going to scoot your hips back to the pillow. We're going to bring the soles of our feet together and just lie back over your props, whether they're pillows or bolsters. Make sure to take your time to make yourself comfortable. If you want to take something to roll up like a blanket or maybe another pillow and put under your knees to support your knees so that it's not such a stretch on your hips, you can do that. I want you to be comfortable. Also, if you want to scoot your feet farther away from your hips, you can do that. It takes a little pressure off the hips if it feels like that's too much. If you want more of a stretch and that feels good, then just tuck your feet in closer to your pelvis. So we're just going to be here for a few minutes. I want you to start to slow your breathing. Begin to inhale, take your time, and when you exhale, make the exhale just a little slower than the inhale. We're going to set a focus today on a yama that's called brahmacharya. So brahmacharya just means non-excess. So we're kind of in a time right now of non-excess. Our overindulgences have been taken away a little bit. So I just want you to remember that you are you without having to strive for more, without making more money. You're not your job title, without working more hours and doing more things or owning more things. You are just enough. So let that be your focus today, that you are enough, just like you are. Continue to inhale and exhale here slowly. You can go at your own pace. Just try to fill your lungs all the way when you inhale. And then again, just slowly exhale it out. If your mind is wanting to wander, just come back to your breath or to that focus of being enough, just like you are. Allow yourself to rest as we're just here just a little bit longer. Start to bring some movement in by guiding your knees together, maybe extending your legs. Begin to rise up from the cushion. Maybe bend your knees back up and windshield wiper the legs. Whatever movement you need to take here, just to start to wake the body back up. And then when you're ready, you can move your props over to the side out of your way. And then we're going to extend our legs out in front. Take your left leg straight and your right knee bent. Leave a little space. Inhale your arms up, and we're going to twist towards that right bent knee. So let your left arm wrap around your right knee. Bring your left arm behind you along your spine. And with each inhale, straighten your spine toward the ceiling. And with your exhale, turn just a little farther over that right shoulder. Each inhale straightens, the exhale turns. You can go at your own pace. Then begin to unwind. Just going to switch to the other side. So your left knee is bent, your right knee is straight. Inhale your arms up, and when you exhale, wrap that right arm around your left knee. And again, with each inhale, straighten your spine. Exhale to turn over that left shoulder. You don't have to go too far here. Just beginning to warm up the spine. And then you can release that. Bring both arms up for one more stretch. And then we're going to allow our legs to come wide. We'll inhale the arms up one more time and exhale to fold forward with a flat back. Stay up flat when you inhale, and then as you exhale, begin to fold a little more forward. You can round your spine. And when you inhale, straighten the back, and exhale to fold down more. Once you've come to the edge where you feel that you cannot go farther, with each inhale, just do a little bit of a straightening of the spine, and exhale to fold down farther. So you're going to go just a little farther each time. Walk your hands over to your left leg to grab those toes, or you can grab your shin. We're going to fold over that leg, reaching our right arm up toward the ceiling. So it's a side bend. We're bending over our left leg, reaching our right arm up. Continue to breathe here. Relax that arm back down. Walk your hands back over to the right leg. Fold down over that right leg, and then open up your left arm toward the ceiling. Keeping both hips grounded, rooted into your mat. Reaching toward the ceiling. Come back down, walk your hands back to the middle, and then all the way back up, reaching up toward the ceiling. Bend to your left, back up with an inhale, and exhale to the right. Inhale to come back to the middle. Bring your legs together. And you're going to take your right leg, hold it just like you hold a baby, and you're going to rock back and forth. So you're just getting some motion in your hip, just rocking your bent knee back and forth. And then we'll switch to the left leg. So bring the left leg up, cradle it with your arms, and just rock back and forth. It gets all the fluid in your joints moving and ready to work a little. And then you can release that back down. Then you're going to scoot back if you need to, take your left leg, bring it up between your hands so your right leg is bent. Your left leg is forward and bent, and your right leg is behind you, but your knee is down on the mat. So you're in a low lunge, you're reaching towards the ceiling. Then straighten that front leg and bend over that, sitting your hips back a little. Let your left toes point up. And then inhale to sweep the arms back up into that low lunge, reaching towards the ceiling. And then sit back with your hips again to bend over that front leg. If you need to take blocks here, you can take blocks to rest your hands on, or you can rest your hands on your knee if it's too far. It's a big hamstring stretch. And then sweep your arms back up for that low lunge on the left. reaching towards the ceiling, really opening that right hip. It's a deep stretch in your hip flexor, and then sit the hips back again, folding over that straight front leg. Again, if you want to rest your hands on your knee, you can, or you can grab your blocks. If it's difficult to reach the floor, grab your blocks to be able to stabilize you better, whatever height you need them at. Otherwise, just bend over that front leg. Then you're going to come onto your right knee. Take your left leg straight, open up. You're in a side plank, so you're resting on your right arm and your left arm's reaching towards the ceiling. Reaching up, supporting yourself on that bent knee. Come back down and come into a full plank. So both hands underneath your shoulders. Your toes are tucked, your heels are pressing back. You can drop to your knees if you need to here. Otherwise, keep your knees up. So you're in a full plank. Then you're going to drop that left knee and come into a side plank. So your left arm is on your mat, your right arm is reaching up. Right leg fully extended, reaching towards the ceiling. You can look up at that hand. Then bring both hands back down and step that right foot up between your hands. So now you're in a low lunge on the right side. Reach your arms all the way up to the ceiling with a big inhale. So your left knee is on the mat. It's bent, resting on the mat. Your right leg is forward. You're reaching, and then sit your hips back and straighten that front leg. Again, if you need the blocks, you can use the blocks to support yourself better. If not, you can reach your hands right back down to the mat. Sweep the arms back up for that low lunge. Big stretch in the hip flexor on the left. Reaching to the ceiling. And then sit back again to straighten that front leg. Your toes are pointing up on your right straight leg. You can feel the stretch deep in your hamstrings and your calf. Inhale to sweep the arms back up into the low lunge again. You can look out in front of you, or you can look up towards the ceiling. And then come back down one more time over that straight leg on the front, sitting back. Stretching the hamstrings, bringing your fingers to the mat, bringing your tummy towards your thighs. And then walk your hands back forward and step to the front into a forward fold. Inhale your arms all the way up, reaching towards the ceiling. And then exhale your hands to heart center. So you're going to begin to shift your weight into your left leg. Take your right leg, and you can stop at tree if you need to. Otherwise, we're going to bend our knee up to put our foot right against the hip. So your right foot's against your left hip. Use your left arm to hold on to your foot. So you're just going to hold your foot there for this balance pose. You can use your free hand to either put it on your hip, or if you want a more difficult pose, reach up towards the ceiling. Find that spot to focus on. Find a spot that doesn't move. It will help you keep your balance. Your left foot is working hard to keep the balance. Another option if you struggle with balance is you can go to the wall and use the wall as support, or you can hang on to a chair if you need to. You can even grab a hold of your ear. It's a little trick that helps you keep your balance. And then you can release that foot back down. Inhale your arms all the way up with a slight back bend. Exhale to fold over. Just reaching your hands towards your feet, towards the mat. Inhale to come all the way back up into a back bend, and back down again with your exhale. You can hold both of your elbows and just swing a little back and forth, just loosening up the spine. Inhale your arms all the way back up with that little back bend at the top. Exhale to fold back over again. Now you're going to take your left knee and put a bend in it. That's going to shoot your right hip just a little higher, just a little deeper stretch in that right leg. If you need blocks here, grab your blocks. Maybe your hands don't reach all the way to the ground, that's okay. Then you're going to switch onto your right leg. So bend your right leg, straighten that left. Really deepens the stretch. Inhale your arms all the way back up. Exhale your hands down to heart center. And then you're going to start shifting your weight into your right foot this time. Once you have that, you can go to tree, or you can grab a hold of that left foot and tuck it right up against your right hip. So you can hold onto your foot with your right hand and bring your left hand to your hip, or again, you can raise it all the way, reaching toward the ceiling if you want a little bit more of a challenge. And again, find that focal spot that you can focus at that's not moving, and practice your balance here. Again, it's okay if you need a chair or you need the wall. And then release that foot back down to the mat. Inhale your arms up to heart center, and then you're just going to squat into a narrow squat. So your feet are together, you're on your toes, on the balls of your feet, raise up onto your tiptoes, and then lower back down. Your knees are close together, raise up again onto your tiptoes, hold that there, lower back down, and then one more time we're going to raise up onto our tiptoes as far as you can go, as high as you can go. Really try to get up on your tiptoes, and then relax back down. Place your hands on the floor, let your hips come higher in a forward fold here. Take a minute to reset. Let's just hang here. Let your neck release so you can gently move it side to side, or shake your head yes and no. Work some of the knots out in your neck. And then plant your hands at the top of your mat and step back into a plank. And then you're going to lower all the way down to your mat. Once you have come all the way to your mat, untuck your toes. We're going to come into Cobra. So just lift your chest up off the mat. You should be able to free your hands here. You're pulling your belly button towards your spine. You're engaging your back. And then rest your head down and bring your hands down beside your hips. You want your palms to be touching the mat, and then you're going to raise your left leg. If you want to rest your forehead on the mat, that's fine. So raise your left leg as high as you can, and then relax it back down. Bring your hands back under your shoulders and press up for Cobra here. So you may want to go a little higher this time. So you're pressing into Cobra. Then relax back down, bring your forehead back to the mat, your hands back down by your side, palms on the mat, and we're going to raise our right leg this time. So raise it as high as you can go without allowing your hips to turn. Keep both hips faced towards the mat. Lift that leg, relax it back down, bring your hands back under your shoulders, and press up for full Cobra. If you want to go into upward dog, you can, or Sphinx is an option. But full Cobra right here, unless that's too much on your back. Relax back down, bring your hands back by your side, palms down, press both legs up and off the mat. So you're lifting both legs this time. Really use your hands to stabilize you. Relax the legs back down, hands underneath the shoulders, press up for a full upward dog. If you want to stay at Cobra or Sphinx, you can. Do what's best for your body. But the option is you can come into a full upward facing dog and then relax back down, placing your forehead on the ground, on the mat. Again, bring your arms back by your side, and this time your palms face up and you lift your arms and your feet off the ground for locust. Work towards bringing your toes together. Trying for height, and then release back down. Bring your hands back under your shoulders. We're going to go into full upward dog one more time. So press up into upward facing dog. So you're thighs are off the mat. The only thing that touches are your hands and the top of your feet in upward facing dog. And then relax back down. And we're going to go for bow here. So this, you can bend your knees, reach your hands back to grab the top of your feet. And when you're ready, you're going to raise your chest and your legs off the ground. So you're going to press the tops of your feet into the back of your hands to lift your chest up and lift your legs up. If that's too much, release your feet, or if you can't grab your feet, just keep your knees bent and lifted, and lift your arms up too, like they're reaching towards each other. Otherwise, press the tops of your feet into your hands. You may rock back and forth with your breath. That's good. That's okay. And then release that back down. You're going to tuck your toes, bring your hands under your shoulders, and press into downward facing dog. You can take some movement here if you need to. So if you want to pedal your feet out, you can do that. Maybe where we have been in Cobra, your back is starting to loosen up a little bit, so you can dip your hips from side to side. Just dip your hips over to the left and then to the right. That might feel good on your back. And then settle in for your downward facing dog. Find some stillness here. If you need to bend your knees to send your hips higher, you can. And then walk your feet all the way up to your hands. Inhale all the way up. Exhale to forward fold. Come into a half lift with an inhale. Exhale to plant your hands and step back. You're in plank, and then we're going to lower down to chaturanga, and then come all the way up into an upward facing dog or cobra if you need to, and then exhale to go into your downward facing dog. Allow yourself a minute to breathe here. If you want to take movement, you can take movement in your downward facing dog. If you want stillness, stay still and just breathe. Working those heels down, sending the hips high, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. And walk your feet all the way back up to your hands. Inhale all the way up. Exhale down. Inhale to come to a half lift to flatten that spine. Exhale your hands back down. Step back to plank. And then lower down to chaturanga into upward facing dog again. So untuck your toes. And then tuck your toes and lift into downward facing dog, sending the hips high. We'll be here for just a few breaths. And again, if you need to take movement, if you need to continue to pedal it out, you can, or you can find stillness. Feeling that long stretch. Walk your feet all the way up to your hands. Half lift with an inhale, exhale to come all the way down, and just fold here. Allow gravity to pull you forward and down. Make sure you have the weight all the way through your feet, and then step your feet back, drop your knees, walk your hands back. Go ahead and grab your props again. So you're going to have either your bolster or pillows. So I'm going to put my blocks down and then put my bolster on top of my blocks, and I'm going to grab my Citrus Fresh just to take one more deep breath, because citrus, while it can elevate the mood, it can also be very, very relaxing. And as we take our last few minutes here to wind down and relax a little bit and calm the mind, I'm going to use that citrus oil to help me do that. So I take my blocks, and then I take my bolster on top of my blocks just to give it a little more height. So you can stack a few pillows if you prefer, whatever you have. You can even put books under pillows to make them a little higher. And then you're going to bring your knees wide and scoot right up to the bolster as close as you can get. And then just fold down over. Let your toes kind of overlap in the back. Let your arms fall down to the side. You can let your palms face up or your palms down. You can tuck your arms underneath of your pillows if you want to. Wherever you're comfortable, whatever feels good to you. So your head can be turned to either side. At about the halfway point, I will let you know so you can turn your head to the other side. That way you can feel nice and even. So start out with your head resting to one side, and then begin to settle in again. So maybe you need to slow your breath. Maybe that movement that we did made your breathing increase, which is what it should do. That's totally normal. But now comes the part where we can slow the breathing. When we slow our breathing, we allow our mind to know that it's okay, that it's time to relax a little bit. So it's an indicator for our brain to be able to relax. So come into any breath that feels natural to you, just slow it down a little. And if your mind is busy like it always is, every mind is busy all the time. We have so many things to do and so many things to take care of and so many things to think about. Sometimes it's hard to focus. But it's so nourishing for your brain when you allow it to focus on just one thing instead of many. So maybe you come back to what we said at the beginning, that you're enough. It's enough. You don't always have to be doing. You don't always have to be performing a job or a chore or accomplishing a goal. It's okay to have a few minutes to just be. And this is that time. This is that time where you get to just be. So focus on letting go of the excess, just being here and resting and allowing yourself rest. We're at the halfway point, so you can turn your head if you want to. If you're comfortable where you're at or it feels better on this side, just stay right where you are. But you can turn your head if you want to. Make any adjustments that you need to. And then continue to allow yourself to rest. begin to slowly rise up and move your props out of the way. And we're just going to come into tabletop position, and we're just going to circle all the way around, where we sit our hips back and lean towards the left to circle around to the front, and then to the right and back, and then go the opposite direction. So you're just making these wide circles just to bring a little movement here. So you can do that 3 or 4 times. Then you're going to grab your biggest pillow or your bolster. We're going to lie back, keep your knees bent, lift your hips up, and you're going to slide that bolster right under your hips. So it's going to be under your lower back and your hips. So you're going to have a little bit of an exaggerated back bend here. So your shoulders are resting on the mat. Your feet are on the mat. You can walk your feet wide and let your knees come towards each other, or you can walk your feet back in and just keep your feet parallel with your knees. But do keep your knees bent. Let your arms rest out to the side. So you're in this supported bridge. So we started where we were in a fold, and now we've gone to a little bit of a back bend. So allow yourself to just kind of melt over that bolster or pillow that you're using. And then begin to settle back in. Allow your mind to find just one thing to focus on, whatever that might be for you, but just one thing. If you notice that your mind starts to drift out and go to all the other things that we have in our lives, bring it back to your breath, slow your breathing, pay attention to your inhales and your exhales, and then find that focus again on that one thing. Maybe that one thing is your breath. Maybe that's what keeps you focused. We're here for just a little bit longer. When you're ready, you can begin to lift your hips to slide that bolster out. Hug your knees into your chest. You can circle your knees in little circles if you want. And then just pull them in tight to your chest, and then release your legs straight, that your feet are going towards the ceiling. And then lower your knees down, relaxing your legs all the way down to the mat so that they're straight. Arms are by your side, and everything is relaxed. Coming into Shavasana on these last few minutes of our practice together. Allow yourself complete rest here. doing this practice after work or before you go to bed, and you want to keep that relaxed feeling that you have right now. If you do, then go ahead and roll onto your right side. Let your knees bend and use your arm as a pillow under your head. Or maybe you're doing this practice in the morning before you go to work or before you have a big day ahead or whatever it might be. And maybe you want to feel re-energized. If so, turn onto your left side to start to bring that energy back in. Turn onto your left. Bend your knees, use your arm as a pillow, whichever side you choose. And while you're here, just take a couple more deep breaths, filling your lungs all the way up on the inhale and then exhaling it out, just at your own pace. And then when you're ready, begin to move toward an upright, seated position. Just come to a comfortable seat. And when you've made it all the way up, we're going to inhale our arms up for that one last stretch. Exhale your hands down to heart center. Thank you for sharing this time of practice. Namaste.